What's up? Battlefield A76. They I had it. Started off with feel good. I don't know what it is about my feels right now, but I feel like super locked in the form. Like it feels like a straight path, and I don't know if it's because my hamstrings have gotten more flexible or what it is, but they feel better than they had before. Like before, I feel like my bar path was like super wonky. Um, and it just feels so much better now. Like my hamstrings are feeling insanely strong. My back is feeling nice. And it was a really solid one. And I'm really looking forward to progressing deadlifts a lot because I'm almost back to like good numbers on deadlifts. And deadlift has always been my favorite lift just because I've always been really strong. Kind of just proportions like longer arms, and I always worked on it a lot. Like I don't know why in my early lifting career I really developed deadlifts a lot. Like um I think even before I squatted 400, I was deadlifting 500, and I think even to the point where I think I deadlifted 525 before I squatted 405 or something ridiculous. So, deadlifts are always a strong point for me. And it wasn't even always like an upper back development thing. Like I feel like my back wasn't really that good. I just deadlifted a lot. I always maxed out originally when I started, and then I got hurt or I tweaked my back or whatever, and then I really had to work on my deadlift form and really build it up. Um, and I think something that hindered my development early on in terms of my powerlifting career was not taking accessories or bodybuilding, as I would call it, really seriously, and kind of just not even doing accessories because I used to just be at the gym. These are the good days. When I was like 17, 18, 19, I would just be at the gym for like 3 hours just doing squat, bench, or deadlift. And don't get me wrong, it was fun, but I did hinder my development a lot because I wasn't doing that much of the other stuff. I remember when I started to do it, I like blew up, like I got really big. Um, and even though I was a fat person or a fat kid, like into my late teens, early 20s, like I developed a pretty good amount of muscle for somebody that was, largely focused on powerlifting. And, I wish if I could go back that I would have started taking it more seriously um, earlier in my career of lifting and really hammer on it because I feel like I would have gotten a lot stronger, especially in a lift like the bench press, where bench press, I feel like it's pretty pivotal that you are doing stuff outside of bench. And I know it's gotten really popular, especially within, like the natural federations to just become a really specific bencher, like benching 3, 4, 5 times a week. But I think almost as equally as doing bench press, it's important to do other stuff, like dumbbell bench, dips, especially shoulder presses, lots of tricep training. And I think that a lot of people do them, but I don't feel like enough people focus on it a lot and like have a really good off season full of my camera's fucked on this one, of course. But I feel like people don't really have enough of it in their training as well as like a lot of upper back. Like I don't think people realize how much training your upper back can actually take. Like I think I do like 16 sets of upper back and I don't know if I really even get like super sore. Like I'll get sore a little bit, but I don't really get that sore. And I'm pushing these sets like it's not like they're easy, like they're pretty hard. Um, so your upper back can handle beating. And if I could, I would do pull-ups. I'd do neutral grip chins or underhands, but I can't do them yet. I'm hoping when I get to like 260 again, I could do them. Usually the body weight historically where I've been able to do like sets of 5 to 8 on pull-ups around 260, especially, and it's the same with dips because I really enjoy doing pull-ups and dips for upper back training. Even if like I can only cap the reps like at 30 or 40, I think they're really good for bodybuilding. Not so much, but for powerlifting, I think the strength that you get from those two is pretty insane, and especially weighted dips transfer really well to bench for me at least. And it's really an enjoyment thing as well. Like I really enjoy doing, some body weight stuff and feeling like I'm not a fat bastard all the time. But I just, I think the importance, and this isn't for like a lot of other people because everyone that goes to the gym kind of works everything. But I feel like once you get in this perpetual state of just doing the comp lifts in terms of powerlifting, you kind of just stay in that bubble of I'm just gonna do squat, bench, and deadlift. It everything else is I'll do some of it, but I'm really gonna focus on this. But it's like I feel like up until you reach that advanced state, you shouldn't really only be doing squat, bench, and deadlift, or really hard focusing on it because you don't really need to. Um, there's a lot of room to grow, and you really have to fill out your frame. And even a lot of those advanced people still do that like hard accessories and really training because they have a lot of room still. Um, but sometimes I just go off on a tangent about powerlifting because there's a lot of things that frustrate me in the space in terms of training and specifically nutrition. Um, and obviously, I know I'm fat right now, so it's kind of like beating the bear with the stick when I'm not the person that could be talking about it the best. But when it comes to like nutrition, a lot of people don't really take nutrition seriously in powerlifting up until they're really advanced. And I feel like it's a shame because there's a lot of people that they can get, much better results if they really focus in on their nutrition. And I'm not saying you have to like eat fucking, I've said this before, but like the biggest pitfall I think of people following bodybuilders is assuming that everybody has to eat like them, chicken and rice and broccoli. So a lot of bodybuilders don't really even eat broccoli, but like chicken and rice and extremely lean beef and rice. And I just don't think that most people need to do that. Like 99% of people, unless you're an actual bodybuilder and want to take it really seriously. But I think that a lot of people could just benefit from eating, cleaner proteins. Salmon, cod, prawns, or shrimp. Um, you know, even a little bit of fattier, cuts, top sirloin, 90-10 ground beef. Obviously not the super fatty like 85-15 ground beef or ribeyes or stuff like that, but like, relatively, fatty portions of meat, like 90-10, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, stuff that's, whole eggs, stuff that's going to get you a good amount of protein, but stuff fat. Like, you don't really need to delve into the super lean stuff because it's really not going to be enjoyable for most people. Like most people are going to prefer fattier cuts, and as long as you're keeping your calories in check, you're not going to get fat, and it's going to be more enjoyable. And as a natural, you kind of need more, fat intake anyway. You don't need to be doing 60-50 grams of fat. You can drive it up to 80 to 100. A lot of the reason why bodybuilders drive it really low is because they have a higher nutrient intake because of gear, and their muscles can intake more calories because that's what gear does. It helps you uptake more nutrients, so they're driving their fat really low so they could drive their carbs really high. And so a lot of people look at that and they're like, oh, I'm going to do that. And it's like you don't need to do that. You're not on gear. I mean, if you are on gear, then you can do that. But if you're not, as a natural, you should be driving your fat up higher, and you could deal with a little bit less carbs. And I think ideally your protein is at a gram per pound of body weight. And then, the carbs fall in line. You fill it in with whatever you have left. But, like I eat whole eggs all the time. I eat 90-10 beef. I eat chicken thighs when I can over chicken breast. It's small things that really keep me to the diet, and I enjoy it. Like, I don't feel the need to go out and cheat all the time. Might do it once a week or twice, but I don't go out of my own way. It's really when people just bring food or invite me to places where I'm, you know, cheating, really, because I enjoy my diet fully. I have flexibility because I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not in season. I'm not, super strict. And I think a lot of people try to live their life as bodybuilders and they don't really realize, even if they try, they're not doing it. A lot of these bodybuilders, they're committed every single day. They're doing their diets and there's no flexibility. So even if you feel like you're doing what a bodybuilder does, until you actually, you know, go through a day with them, you're really not. And you shouldn't try to be if you're not trying to actually be a competitive bodybuilder because it's not for everyone. And you shouldn't live your life like that. Um, Unless you're obviously trying to be one, like I said. But I kind of went off a tangent again. But if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 77 and some legs.